And a very good Monday afternoon, evening, everyone. Joe Benigno back with you again. It's the Older Pain Podcast. It's Monday. It is May 19th, 2025. The Joe Benigno Older Pain Podcast is brought to you by the Hackensack Brewing Company, by Need a Discount Tire, and our good friends at Manscaped. You know, is there anything more hype? By the way, we're doing this late in the day for all those who care. We just had a early tea time today. Teed off like 8:40 this morning. So we're doing it now. Played actually pretty good today. Happy with my game. Terry as well. So all good. But anyway, is there anything more overhyped than a Yankee-Met series? I mean, oh, my God. And look, I understand everything about Juan Soto and all of that. And the bottom line is this, okay? And obviously from my Met fan point of view, all right? They didn't get swept this weekend. It wasn't great. They played terrible yesterday, throwing the ball away. Vientos had a big error. Alonso, not good, right? They didn't hit. They never really hit, but they didn't get swept. They won one game. They lost the series on the road. That's basically what they've done. And, they've been an outstanding home team, and they've been, a 500 road team. I think they're 11-12 on the road now. But the bottom line is this on the Mets. With all the hysteria, all the hoopla, all the hype with Soto going back to Yankee Stadium and all that, the bottom line is this. All it was is today we play game 48 of the 162-game eternal Major League Baseball season. Game 48, as the Mets go to Fenway for 3 games against the Red Sox. Always like playing at Fenway. And that's really where we're at. And for all the hysteria with the Mets, and I understand. Look, have they hit with runners in scoring position? Absolutely not. Has Soto been a disappointment? And there's no other way to say it. And I understand it's only 48 games, whatever. Soto's been a disappointment. I'm sorry. Yeah, he walks a lot. Yeah, he's got a nice OPS, 800 something. Everybody gets delirious about OPS. The bottom line is he's got 8 homers and 20 RBIs. And he's hit 4 of the 8 homers in 2 games. So he seems to never get a big hit with runners in scoring position, right? I mean, yeah. Like I said, he walks a lot. He's on base a lot because he's always walking. But we have yet to see through this point in time, and I don't want to get crazy, we have yet to see through this point in time with Juan Soto that big moment, that big hit, that big 3-run home run that wins the game. Even that big, base hit up the middle that wins the game. Whatever it is, we haven't seen it from Soto. So, through his first 47 games as a New York Met, he has not been great. I mean, that's no other way to say it. He just has not been. But do I want to get crazy about it? No. But that, look, like I said, the Mets never seem to get the big hit. Not just him, but everybody. Hitting with runners in scoring position, they stink, right? The whole thing with Soto, which hasn't been good. The Met defense has been terrible, really. We saw Vientos. We saw Alonso yesterday. Lindor, as good as he's been over the years, he's made a lot of errors this year. I think he's made 7 or 8 errors already this year, Lindor, right? Made a bad play in the game Friday night when he should have just ate a ball that he got to up the middle. He wound up throwing it, and it cost him a run when Alonso kind of smacked at it, couldn't make the scoop. So the Met defense really hasn't been great. The pitching's been good, though. I mean, overall, the pitching's been good. You'd like to see like David Peterson pitch good last night, but you'd love to see him pitch more than 6 innings. You'd like to see Griffin Canning go more than 5 innings. You'd like to see that. But the starting pitching's been good. The bullpen has been, for the most part, has been good. Berzaban, however you say his name, I call him Barbazan, has been phenomenal. He's been maybe their best guy out of the pen, not named Edwin Diaz. Whatever you want to say about Edwin Diaz, he had a nice 1-2-3 inning, a 1-2-3 inning to wrap up the game on Saturday, and in one game the Mets won against the Yankees. He blew Judge away on a high fastball 3-2 count. So, overall the bullpen's been good. Diaz is 10 for 10 in save situations. And the bottom line, no matter what you want to say about the Mets to this point, is they're 11 games over 500. They're 29-18. So for all the hand-wringing you want to do, and for all the hysteria you want to have, that's the bottom line. And the fact that the Mets have been winning, I think, has really camouflaged the fact that Soto has not been great by any stretch of the imagination. He's been getting away with it because the Mets are 11 games over 500, because Pete Alonso got off to that crazy start early. He's coming back to the pack now, because the pitching has been so good, because the bullpen has been so good. Lindor, who had some good moments. And I'll tell you this, too, seriously, right? I know they all love Francisco Alvarez behind the plate. Give me a break. Let's be honest about this. I'm just sick and tired of seeing Francisco Alvarez come up in a big spot and strike out, or he's going to strike out. Like when I see Alvarez come up in a big spot with guys on base, you might as well just put the K down in the scorebook. It's all that matters. Usually he's waving at it, right? Swinging from his heels. Luis Torrens is better. I'm sorry, he's better. He's great throwing runners out. He's had some great at bats. I mean, he had a couple great at bats last night. He walked a couple times. He had a hit, right? I mean, right? I mean, I guess that was Saturday. Whatever he played Saturday, he didn't play yesterday. Yesterday was Alvarez. And his run actually turned out to be the game-winning run when, on Saturday when they won, when Acuna scored on that sacrifice fly because he pinch ran for Torrens on that sacrifice fly, which was the game-winning run off the bat of Lindor. So I can't get crazy. The Mets are in good shape. We all would have signed. If I told you, every Met fan out there, and I said to you, well, Juan Soto is going to be very disappointing through the first, 50 games, whatever you want to say, in a regular season. Very disappointing. But the Mets are still going to be 11 games over 500. You would have signed for that, even if Soto was red hot. No doubt about it. So calm down. I hear my buddy Joey T. He's so like you got to stop looking at the turn. Baseball, basketball, and hockey. The regular seasons, they're eternal. It's 162 freaking games. It's 82 games. You cannot equate it the same as you do a 17-game NFL season. You just don't. You can't. You just can't. You can't take every game with that insanity level. And right now, the Mets are fine. I'm sorry. The Mets are fine right now. Again, would we like to see them hit better than they have? Of course. Would we like to see them play better defense than they have? Of course. Would we like to see Soto get hot and actually look like a guy that got paid $770 million? Of course. But the bottom line on all of it is they're 29-18 through the first 47 games of the regular season. They're still in first place in their division. Everybody's got to calm freaking down. All right? And again, the Met Yankee, and I hate the interleague play. I can't stand it. I really can't. And I hate Mets Yankees. Like I said, it's so overhyped. It's 3 games in May, and I understand all the fun and games with Soto and all, but all the Mets did was lose a series, lose 2 out of 3 to a team on the road, a good team on the road. That's all the Mets did. So I don't want to get crazy about it. People got to freaking relax. I don't know how else to say it. People have to relax. And now the Mets go to Boston. Is Senga pitching? I believe Senga tonight, right? Right? I believe Senga's pitching tonight. No, I think it is against the Red Sox. And, let's see them at least win this series. Boston, I believe, is under 500 yet. That AL East outside of the Yankees has been not very good. But we do love to play in Fenway. And let's see what happens. Let's go in there and at least get 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox. Then they got a very tough series with the Dodgers come in over the weekend. How about the fact, too, doesn't this tick you off? Not one of the games in the Dodgers series is going to be on SNY. I mean, really? The Friday night games on whatever the streaming service nonsense is, Amazon, Roku, whatever it is. So that's on the streams. I'm going to see that game, of course. Saturday, I believe, is on Fox, and Sunday is the ESPN night game on the Dodgers series this coming weekend. I mean, it stinks. It's horrible. Can you give me one game on SNY? Can we get one? Why would we? And I want to give the Yankees credit for this, too, okay? And the Mets should do this. The Yankees are one of the few teams left in baseball that actually plays an afternoon, not 4 o'clock, an afternoon 1 o'clock Saturday game. Saturday afternoon 1 o'clock game. I mean, really. Shouldn't the Mets be doing it? The Mets, when's the last time they did that? 10 years ago? Before Citi Field was built? Now they play these Saturday afternoon games at 4 o'clock. So I give the Yankees credit. 1 o'clock Saturday, it should be. You know, when I was growing up, Saturday and Sunday were always day games. That's it. There was Saturday afternoon was a day game, and Sunday generally was a doubleheader in the afternoon. That was when I was growing up. So, you know, that has gone the way of the dinosaur, as we know. But I got to give the Yankees credit for playing those 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon games. So we'll see what happens off to Boston, and we'll see what the Mets do from there. All right, Benigno, the Oda Payne podcast. We're getting ready for the Knicks and the Pacers. It seems like the Knicks haven't played in a month after they wrapped up their series by blowing out the Celtics. And how sweet was that? You know, just beating the crap out of. You know, the Knicks could not have won that game by enough. You know, sticking it to Boston, and you know their hoity-toity, fans. You know, who are so like entitled. You know, they got like the most entitled fans this side of Yankee Stadium. It's just really unbelievable when you're talking about the Boston Celtics. That was to me, as a Knicks fan for the 60 years or whatever it is now, it probably was the second most satisfying non-finals, non-championship. Take 70 and 73 out of the mix. Second most satisfying. You know, the first is still when the Knicks beat the Celtics in 1973 in the Eastern Conference Finals, becoming the first team ever to win a seventh game in Boston Garden. That was off the charts. Beat them bad, 94-78. It was great. This is the second most satisfying. To stick it to the defending world champions, to beat the crap out of them the way that they did. That team in 73, by the way, was the Celtics. For all the championship teams the Celtics have had, the team in 73 that the Knicks beat and knocked out in the Eastern Conference Finals on their way to their second championship was the Celtic team that won the most regular season games of any team. They won 68 games that year. One more than the hollowed 1986 team that won 67 and only lost one game at home. So that's my favorite of all time. I can still see Clyde walking off the court and putting number one in the air. But this was the second. And beating them as the defending world champions. And I don't want to hear about Jason Tatum. The Knicks were on 3-1 when he got hurt. They weren't. At the point in that game, it was late in the fourth quarter. The Knicks had a 9-point lead. Boston wasn't coming back to win Game 4. And then they did win Game 5, as we know. And then I did not expect what we got. That's for sure. As a Knicks fan, I did not expect the absolute annihilation from start to finish of Boston in Game 6 at the Garden. I mean, it was unbelievable. But my wife's concerned because she thinks the cats are fighting upstairs. So, she's running up. She's got my wife has like animal type hearing anyway. She's not normal in that regard. But anyway, getting back to the Knicks, just to beat the crap out of them like they did. I mean, I was singing with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. I was like doing dancing already. I mean, it was never a doubt it was over. By halftime, the game was over. Let's be real. They were up 27 or whatever the hell it was. And they won by 38 points. 38. Oh, how sweet it was. And what made it even great, beside the fact that every starter was great, Brunson, Bridges, Anunoby, Towns, all had over 20 points in the game. Josh Hart had a triple-double. He's the first Knick to have a triple-double in a playoff game since Clyde Frazier in 1972 in the NBA Finals against the Lakers. It's unbelievable. But the two biggest plays of the night were defensive plays, and the Knick defense was great. Defensive plays made by the guys off the bench. Deuce McBride had a tremendous series against Boston, had a big game in Game 6, 10 points off the bench. And how about the block he had on Derek White? Oh, my God. What a tremendous block that was. And then the play to Mitchell Robinson, who really was effective this year. How about the fact that Robinson, he went 6 for 6 from the foul line when they tried to hack a Robinson. Missoula tried to do that. He went 6 for 6 from the foul line in Game 5, even though they lost, and went 1 of 2 in Game 6. And so he's actually hit 7 of his last 8 free throws if Rick Carlisle tries to do anything like this with it, in Indiana from the Pacers in this upcoming series. But the play he made on Jaylen Brown, when Brown was setting up to take a 3 in the corner, and then Mitch jumped out at him and basically took the ball away from him. I mean, just tremendous. You're a Knicks fan right now. You're just loving every second of it. But let's remember this now, Knicks fans. All the Knicks have done so far, like Tom Thibodeau said, we've won 8 games. We got to win 16. They're only halfway there. Do they have a legitimate shot to win this championship? Well, there's only 4 teams left playing, okay? And they're one of them. But this series against the Pacers, I would have much rather, if you're going to tell me the Knicks are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, I'd much rather play the Cavaliers, who I think are a complete fraud team, in all due respect to Kenny Atkinson. I would have much rather played Cleveland and Indiana. Indiana has been a thorn in our side forever. They beat us last year. They won Game 7 at the Garden in the second round in the semifinals, Eastern semifinals. I understand the injury to Anunoby. I know Brunson got hurt in the 7th game. But they beat us in the 7th game at the Garden last year. As a matter of fact, the last 3 times that the Knicks have played the Pacers in the playoffs, they've lost to them. The last time they were in the conference finals, they lost in 2000 to Indiana in 6. They lost in 6 to Indiana in 2013, that year with Carmelo Anthony in the 54-win season. And they lost last year in 7 to Indiana in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And how about this? The last 4 times, including what's going to come this weekend, this will be the last 4 times that the Knicks have been in the Eastern Conference Finals, including this one coming up this year, have all been against Indiana. They beat Indiana in 1994, that great 7th game, crazy series. I was under the bed and all of that, on their way to the finals. Beat them in 94, right? Beat them again in 1999, right? But to go on their way to the finals, 1-6, winning Game 6 at Madison Square Garden, which was the last time the Knicks had clinched a playoff series at home before they did on this past Friday night. And then in 2000, like I said, the last time they'd been to a conference final, 25 years ago, they lost to Indiana in 6. So now this will be the 4th straight time that the Knicks will play the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. This will be the last 4 times that the Knicks have been in the conference finals are all against Indiana. And they played each other, coming into this series now, they played each other 8 times, and Indiana has won 5 of the 8, including the last 3. So we all know how difficult this series is. We all know that. Not going to be easy. Indiana is extremely deep. They play 10 guys. Carlisle plays 10 guys, besides Halliburton and Siakam and, all the guys that can kill you on his team, as we know. Miles Turner, Obi Toppin, the old Nick. I mean, we go right on down the line. McConnell, we killed him last year in the playoffs. So this is not going to be any kind of an easy series. I think the Knicks will win, but I think it's going to go 7. I really do. But it's been great. Beating the Celtics was tremendous. But still, Knicks fans, a long way to go. And it's only Monday. We still got to wait 2 more days, for Game 1. And the Knicks better win Game 1. We've been through this a lot of times, man. And Knicks have never won a series when they didn't win Game 1 at home. They're 0-6 all time when they lose Game 1 of a 7-game series at the Garden. So to me, Wednesday night is a must-have game. Must-have game. You can't lose Game 1 at home, and then you're chasing the whole time. I mean, how different a series was it that the Knicks went into Boston and won Game 1? It's, just even more incredible they won the first 2 there, but it changes everything. So Knicks need that. You got to take care of business in Game 1 at home. You got to act like Game 1 is Game 7, because you got to have that game. History tells you if the Knicks don't win that game, they're not winning the series. So we'll see. And then on the other side, you got Oklahoma City, won Game 7, blew Denver out. So they play the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Final. Our friends Randall and DiVincenzo. What do you think? What do you think the NBA thinks about the 4 teams still playing? You think they love, because they don't love them. We all know they can't stand the Knicks anyway. You think they love the Knicks playing Indiana? How much do you think they love Minnesota against Oklahoma City? You think they love that? I doubt it. So, but we'll see. Let's get it done. Let's win this series. Let's win a championship. It's right there. Sometimes, nobody was looking at the New York Knickerbockers this year as a championship team, right? They won 51 games in the regular season. They couldn't beat anybody. We all know the deal. Couldn't beat any good teams. Lost 4 in a row. Lost 4 straight to Boston. lost all 4 games to Cleveland, couldn't beat the Lakers, couldn't beat Golden State, couldn't beat Oklahoma City, couldn't beat a good team. How'd that work out in the playoffs? Which just goes to show you that the regular season really doesn't mean a lot. And the fact that, the Knicks were locked into that 3 spot in the Eastern Conference basically since early January. Really. We all knew they were going to wind up playing Boston in the second round, right? We all knew it. And nobody gave them a chance to win it, right? We all figured, okay, great, win the opening round. We expected the Knicks to win the opening round, which they did. It wasn't easy against Detroit. And I think the fact that that was a rock fight against the Pistons only helped the Knicks, against Boston. And it's only going to help them going forward. I think it's even made them a much more mentally tough basketball team than maybe they were during the regular season. But it shows that the regular season means nothing. And, sometimes, and nobody expected them to beat Boston. Everybody and their brother basically had the Knicks going out in 5, maybe a couple people, even me, had them winning only a couple games in that series. But now they got to win it all. Sometimes I heard somebody say, and I agree with this, sometimes the year finds you. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just turns out when all is said and done that it's your year, even when you don't realize it. There's been plenty of years that we thought were our year, okay? 1993 comes to mind, okay? And we all know that with the Knicks. We thought it was our year. Well, it wasn't. Last year with the Rangers, we thought it was our year, but it wasn't, right? Sometimes the year finds you, right? And maybe that's what's happened here with the Knicks. Maybe the year's finding the Knicks this year. 8 down, 8 to go. Game 1, Wednesday at the Garden, 8 o'clock against the Indiana. A long, long time, big rival and nemesis, the Indiana Pacers. Let's get it done. 8 down, 8 to go. All right, Benigno, the Ode to Pain podcast. How about the PG yesterday? Hats off to Scotty Scheffler, who at the end of the day winds up running away with the PGA Championship. Looked like he was going to do it going into Sunday. Had a 4-shot lead going into Sunday, and then things started happening. How about John Rahm? Rahm actually caught, by the 9th or 10th hole. I think Rahm was on 11. Scotty was on 9. Rahm actually wound up catching Scheffler yesterday. And then he kind of fell apart at the end, and Scheffler wound up walking away with it again. He really played that green mile, those last 3 holes at Quail Hollow, 16, 17, and 18, really played him very, very well. My guy DeChambeau was in the mix. He wound up finishing tied for second, but he couldn't putt yesterday. And not only couldn't he putt yesterday, but he made a couple bad club selections. I mean, a couple of those, drivable par 4s, those short par 4s at Quail Hollow, where I thought, maybe DeChambeau should have been hitting his driver, and he was hitting 3-wood and didn't get there. Came up short. Didn't quite get the results he should have gotten. He wanted. His irons have been a little off. His putting was not good yesterday. And with all that said, still wound up finishing second. And my money in the U.S. Open coming up, and he's already won 2 of those, won it last year as well, with the U.S. Open coming up at Oakmont, Father's Day weekend in about a month or so, I like DeChambeau. I got to tell you. I do. If you heard his interview with Amanda Balionis after the last round yesterday, boy, he was a little upset that he didn't play better than that. And he looks like he's ready to go. And it was good to see John Rahm back in the mix again, because we don't see these guys anymore that they're on the LIV Tour. It was good to see Rahm back in the mix. But right now, and you knew McIlroy was, nothing. He just knew he had to be too mentally burned out to win this tournament, right? I'm sure it just didn't mean as much after winning the Grand Slam and finally winning the Masters. How about the whole ballyhoo about his driver? It turns out he had an illegal driver. I guess they do random searches of the clubs, and it was deemed that his driver, the face on his driver was too thin, and I never knew this even mattered. And the thinner the driver, the farther you can hit the ball. Boy, oh boy, no wonder I'm hitting the ball as well as I am off the tee, right? Because I mean, I've had this driver now. My wife and I have had these drivers for like 5 years. And if you're telling me the ball goes farther when it's thin-faced, I love it. Give me that thin-faced driver. Nobody's checking my clubs. I can tell you that. So I thought that was interesting. I never knew that. I really didn't. But, McIlroy barely made the cut. So we'll see what happens at Oakmont and U.S. Open. But right now, Scotty Scheffler And you knew this too. Scheffler was going to, was probably going to win this after the way he dominated at the Byron Nelson 2 weeks ago in Texas. When he was what he tied a record for the lowest score ever. He was 31 under 500, 31 under par. Won by 8 strokes over. I think it was over. What's his name? Van Rooyen, I think it was in that tournament. But congratulations to him. His third major. He's got 2 green jackets with the Masters, and now he wins his first ever PGA. So Scottie Scheffler, probably the best player. Still, to me, the 3 best players in golf right now: Scottie Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, and Rory McIlroy. Those, to me, are the 3 top guys. So we'll see what happens coming up at the U.S. Open. Joey T just texted me this. So Will McDonald finally got rid of 99, and he's going to wear number 9 this year for the Jets. Great to hear that, because they should retire 99. That nobody should be able to wear Mark Gastineau's number. So I'm glad to see McDonald, decided to change, get out of glass. You're not Gastineau, don't wear his number, and he's wearing number 9. Number 9. So I'm happy to see that. I really am. Very, very happy about that as we go forward. But just getting back to the golf, great to see. What is this week? The Colonial. That's the golf, which is in Fort Worth. And I think Scheffler's actually playing in that, right? I think he is. I heard yesterday, I think he is. I heard yesterday as I'm watching the golf that Scheffler's actually playing tomorrow, this weekend at the Colonial. So that's all good. It's good to see. No doubt about it. All right. So that's the story. I mean, that's what's going on. Hope everybody is enjoying. Weird. How about the weather coming up? We played this morning. It was windy. A lot of wind today. Didn't really deter us too much. My wife loves to play in rough conditions. It only makes it tougher. So she was hitting the ball very good today. But you see, the weather is going to be crummy. Like Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be rainy and in the 50s. What? Memorial Day is 2 weeks away, and you're telling me it's going to be rainy in the 50s this week? Give me a break. Today wasn't bad. 70, it's pretty decent now. Low 70s. Tomorrow's supposed to be pretty good too. So hopefully you'll enjoy the weather. Hopefully you can do that going forward. I mean, we'll see. No doubt about it. All right. I'm cutting out. Everybody have a great week. Check me out on Friday for Friday we'll break down game 1 of the Knicks Pacers series. Of course, that's Wednesday, but we'll break it down on Friday. And check me out there. Check me out, of course, on Saturday on the Fan from 10 to 1 or whatever time we're on till on Saturday. Again, as always, to everybody, all the love. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I forgot to mention. Let me do that because I kept going on and on. Our sponsors before I leave. Of course, the Hackensack Brewing Company will let you know when the next live podcast will be, middle of July. Everybody knows about the Anita Discount Tire. Go see my son Johnny. Go see Ari. Go see everybody over there, and they'll take care of you. Any work you need done on your car, you need your car inspected, you need tires, they'll take care of you. Johnny, Ari, the whole group over there. Westwood Avenue, beautiful Rivervale, New Jersey. And check out Manscaped. Manscaped taking a little hiatus. They'll be back with us soon. But you know my feeling on them. So check them out as well. All right, everybody, all the love. Have a great week. Like I said, check me out on Friday. Let's go Mets. Let's go Knicks. And, of course, God bless America. Talk to you Friday.